Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss about the next topic which is there in the chapter Morphology of flowering plants. Today we are going to discuss about regions of root. What is our today's topic? Regions of root. Yes. Whatever the typical root we are observing, a typical root or a model root, the root which we have selected as a model root to observe all the regions or the parts of root, that is we are calling what? Typical root. So, in the typical root we are going to discuss about the regions. What are the regions or the parts or the locations are taking place as a different features on the root. Now got the point? Different features on the typical root. So now have a look into the different parts or the regions of root, what actually it is. Already we have completed about root and types of root system. Today we are going to discuss about regions of root or parts of root. Regions of root or parts of a typical root. Parts of a typical root. Parts of a typical root. Whenever we are going to take, imagine what is root, how is root. Just we have a long cylindrical elongated structure, then picture, just we remember, in that particular long elongated cylindrical structure, as a root what we have chosen as typical root, different regions and locations we are observing based on their structure and based on their function and based on their location where it is present. So now we are discussing about the parts of typical root. If you want to check all the parts of the typical root, we have four different. Note down, students. Four different regions. We have four different regions. When we are moving from, whenever we want to check all the four different regions in the typical root, just we move from distal portion to the proximal part of the root. Understood? You know root is generally shows gravitotropism or geotropism, positive geotropism and positive hydrotropism, where the root is maximum is growing towards the soil, Understood? So in that case, whenever we have a long cylindrical root, it is growing towards the soil. The root which first formed as the primary root in the typical root, the first root what it is formed from the radical which produces a primary root which grow towards the soil. Slowly it is going to get maturity and development. In that development, so many different regions are going to be formed on the different regions and parts we generally seen in the root or typical root. Just those are the parts which we are going to identify by observing morphological features. Of course, externally what the different regions we seen on the typical root as different parts of the root, now we better to understand, students. In that only we focus our concentration on the different regions and parts which we seen in the root are of four different regions. All these four different regions are not at a time they formed. Slowly during the maturation, during the development, all these are the parts are going to be differentiated from one region or part of the root to the another region or part of the root. Now got the point. So here four different basic regions we are observing. Basically we have four different regions. In that the first one, when we move from All these are the 4 different regions are there, but we better to start it from any one of the, okay, location or region. Understood? Just we move from immature region to the mature regions. Understood? Means here from the tip of the root to the base of the stem from which the root is going to be entered into the soil. Now you got the point? Means the tip of the root or the regions or the locations or the parts which are located at the tip of the root, just we are calling as distal parts of the root. What it is? Distal parts of the roots. Understood? Distal parts are nothing but later what the parts are going to be produced or formed. From that distal part to, just now we are moving to check all the 4 different regions how they are present. We are moving from distal regions to the proximal region or mature region of root, which is very near to the base of the stem and which is very near to the topsoil, from which point of the plant body the root system is going to be started or initiated. Now got the point? Now got the point? So see here, now we are move away from the gravity towards the peripheral portion of the soil or towards the topsoil. Just we are moving from proximal region to the, okay, to check all these 4 basic regions or parts of a typical root. Yes, to check all these 4 basic regions or parts of the typical root, we move from distal region of root to proximal region of the root, proximal region of the root. Now got the point? See here we have discussed about the proximal, the distal. Distal means later whatever the parts they formed. The first cells of the tissues they located at the region, it is called proximal region or first region which contains the first tissues and cells which they loaded. It is a matured region where we are observing it is immature region or the new cells what they are formed. Understood? Later what the cells they formed. So to check all these 4 basic parts or regions of typical root, we move from distal region to region of root to proximal region of the root. In that the first part which located at the distal region of the root, it is what it is? Root cap. You please note down, students. It is a root cap which is completely located at the tip of the root, or the tender root tip which is covered by a thimble like sheath like structure or covering like structure which covers the tender root tip or fleshy root tip, where we are expecting a very important function like meristematic activity. The meristematic activity is very much high at the tip of the root. Understood? Here in the tip of the root, on outer side of this tip of the root is covered by a sheath like structure which is a thimble like structure called root cap, also called as it is a special tissue which covers the tender root tip or fleshy root tip, okay, by a tissue called calyptra. What is the tissue? It is calyptra. This tissue formed from the, okay, special forms of structures are called calyptrogen. What it is? Calyptrogen. So this is the simply the structure which covers the tender root tip for giving protection and giving ease to access or move the root into the soil. Now got the point? That much important function carried out by the root cap. Later we will explain. Okay, so the first part in the root or first region of the root, it is called means Where it is first? It is first at the region, distal region. Where it is? Distal region. So we are moving from distal region to proximal. Slowly, just from the root cap to whatever the regions we are discussing here, we are getting, okay, we are getting the region like maturation, what the cells and tissues we are moving from root cap to, okay, fourth, okay, different types of regions what we located, what we are going to observing in the typical root are, okay, increasing maturation. So here first one is the root cap, the second one is, okay, region of, are you understand students? Region of meristematic activity. Region of meristematic activity. Meristematic activity. So this is the second region which lie above the few millimeter above the root cap. Few millimeter above the root cap means we are moving from deep of the soil to the, okay, upper surface of the soil, means the root which is completely enter into the deeper layers of the soil. From that to upward direction we are moving, means the first tip of the root which is completely percolated into the soil or inserted into the soil, from that point of the root tip to we are moving towards the maturation region. So here from root cap to next region which lie on above the side of the root cap with a few millimeter length, just that is we are calling what region of meristematic activity. Understood students? Okay, the third one is the third region, that is a region of, you please note down, region of elongation. What it is students? Region of elongation. So it is the elongation zone where the growth of the root increase in length, where the growth of the root increase in length. Lengthwise the root maximum, whatever the length of the root we are observing, in that maximum portion we are only observing with a region called region of elongation. Maximum length of the root among all these four different regions, this is the region which is giving a very much lengthy structure in the root. The maximum length of the root is only occupies a region called region of elongation, where the growth of the root increases in length only with a particular region among all those four different regions, that is among all these different regions, it is called region of elongation. You please remember, region of elongation. Okay, next to the region of elongation or proximal to the region of elongation, we have another type of part of the region of the root or region of the root, that is region of maturation. Region of maturation, you please note down. Okay, region of maturation, here meaning is whatever the cells they are developing into matured cells, whatever the cells they differentiated from the immature stage to the matured stage, for become they developing into matured cells as permanent cells, for giving right and appropriate anchorage to the plant body, for giving a right and appropriate support to the plant body, and perform a conduction of water towards the apical parts of the plant body, which is very much hard and which is very much strengthened part of the root. It is called region of maturation, where from where we are also expecting special types of cells they are producing, epidermal cells which they are developing into root hairs. Root hairs, that's way the root hairs are only developed or produced from the region of maturation. That's why this region of maturation is also known as region of root hairs. Region of root hairs. Now got the point? Region of maturation is also known as region of root hairs. You know, I think very well about the function of the root hairs. Root hairs are very important for absorption of water and minerals from the soil. Water and minerals. Are you understand, students? Water and minerals from the soil. Now got the point? Root hairs zone, it is the zone of maturation or region of maturation or zone of root hairs. The root hairs is also formed from the fully matured cells which they are at the periphery, which are periphery means outside. The root, whatever the part is covered by the outer epidermal layer, in that epidermal layer, in that epidermal cells, some of these cells are going to be elongated. Root hairs are the single celled, okay, long thread-like, soft, delicate structures which they are easy to percolate into the soil particles for absorption of water and minerals. When the root hairs number increases, if the number of the root hairs increases, automatically the surface area of root hairs which are basically need to absorption of water and minerals increases. So that's why more number of root hairs absorbs more amount of water and minerals from the soil. So from the maturation region only, that matured epidermal cells okay, are developing into a special delicate thin filamentous hair-like or thread-like structures which move into the soil for absorption of water and minerals are called root hairs. That's why the region of maturation is also known as a region of root hairs. Whenever you want to discuss about the different systematic order of all these regions which we see in the root, from distal portion of the root to the proximal part of the root, just it is the order: root cap region or zone of root cap, okay, or zone of meristematic activity or region of meristematic activity. Next one is a region of elongation or zone of elongation, okay, and the next one is a region of maturation or a zone of maturation. And after that, in some okay books we also discussed about root hairs. After the region of maturation we have one more region as 5 different regions, that is region of root hairs or zone of root hairs. Now you please try to understand. Okay, in some cases these two are same. Root hairs are only developed or projected from the region, that is region of maturation. Understood? They haven't a separate region, okay, but they are only formed, developed from the matured region or zone of maturation. So that's why these two are same. So all these are the regions what generally we seen in the typical root from distal to proximal. We are moving from distal to proximal. We are moving from distal parts of the root, distal parts of the root. We are moving from distal parts of the root to proximal parts of the root. Are you okay, students? So distal part of the root to proximal parts of the root, it is the order: root cap, region of meristematic activity, region of elongation, and region of maturation, and region of root cap. So let us know something well about in detail information about each and every type of parts of the root or regions of the root. In that, the first one, what it is, we better to discuss here. You please put the subheading, okay, region of root cap or root cap. Region of root cap. What it is? It is the region of root cap. We better to discuss something well about root cap. What is root cap? Root cap is a separate sheath-like membranous structure which covers the root tip. Suppose to take it is the root, it is the tip of the root. This tip of the root is very sensitive and fleshy, contains very sensitive meristematic cells which are performing rapid and very important function for the growth of the root and perform various functions. All the cells production just done here in the tip of the root. That much very important, sensitive and functionally active region of the root covered by or protected by a covering sheath like thimble like structure called root cap. This root cap is made up of a special cell, a special type of cells called statocytes. Statocytes. Understood? These are the cells which they are going to cover the root tip, not whole root. The total root is not covered by this particular root cap. Root cap is only covers the tip region of the root, or the region which we are calling second region of meristematic activity. That meristematic activity or the cell division activity, where it functionally or rapidly divide a large number of cells which are basically need to construct the root and moving or penetration of the root into the soil by increasing their growth and development and maturity, only done by the cells what they are producing from the second region, that is region of meristematic activity. This activity done in one particular region and location of the root, that root location which we are calling region of meristematic activity is taken or take a right protection by a cap like structure called root cap. You please remember. Understood? This root cap is very much important for giving protection, and this root cap releases a thick gelatinous wetty mucilage, wetty substance called mucilage. That mucilaginous substance is also secreted by the outer covering and protecting sheath like structure called root cap. This root cap, when it is releases that mucilage like substance, then due to the wetty properties and gelatinous properties, what the root cap which is giving direction and guide the movement of the root into the soil with ease and soft, and it is going to move very easy and simple direction and way provided and created by the root cap for the access of root into the soil. Now got the point? For the access of root into the soil, wherever the root is moving into the wants to move into the soil particles, the soil particles, if they are very hardened, it is not possible to access the root into the soil. How do the accessibility taken by the soil particles given or movement shown by the root into the soil particles only because of when the soil particles became soft, by that wetty moisture mucilaginous substance secreted by the root cap. Now you got the point. Root cap is not only perform function giving protection to the tender root tip. Now got the point. Our meristematic region which is protected by the root cap. Root cap is not only giving protection to the root tip, it also provide ease to access the root into the soil particles by releasing a gelatinous wetty substance called mucilage, which is naturally secreted by the root cap. Understood? Which is the complete outermost region and the first proximal region, first distal region of the root, which is giving direction to move the root into the soil. Okay, students? Okay, students. Now you better to write few lines about root cap. Understood? So root cap is a thimble like structure. Thimble like structure which covers the tender root tip, which covers the tender root tip to protect the tender root tip and giving a property that is ease, giving ease to access root into the soil, root into the soil, students. Okay, students, are you able to understand or not? root cap region which is going to be seen a structure like a root cap. So root cap is a thimble like structure. Thimble like structure means, see here, like this. Yes, this type of structure what we are calling thimble like structure, it is a small sheath like structure. Okay, it is a small sheath like structure which covers the yes, after that it is simply we are calling what it is, root. Here this is we are calling what it is, this is the region, simply we are calling what it is. Okay, root tip region or tender root tip, where we are expecting meristematic activity. Now got the point? This is the region we are calling what, Mar? Region of meristematic activity. Means it is also known as tender root tip. What it is? Tender root tip. Tender root tip. Now got the point? This is also known as tender root tip. So this tender root tip is protected by the sheath like structure, thimble like covering membranous protective layer. It is called root cap. What it is? This is a structure called root cap. Now got the point, students? So this is about root cap, and root cap is a thimble like structure which covers the tender root tip and protect the tender root tip and giving ease to access the root into the soil. Understood? How it is giving a property like easily movement of root into the soil by releasing a mucilaginous substance called mucilage. Understood? So especially this is the root cap. This root cap is made up of a tissue called calyptra. What is the tissue? It is calyptra. So that's why root cap is also called as calyptra. This calyptra secretes a substance called mucilage. What is the substance it is, students? Mucilage. Mucilage is a thick, wetty substance. Understood? It is a thick, wetty substance which access the root into the soil, which is giving accessibility, which access root into the soil. Already I said now, this is the root cap is made up of, here you please write one important point, students. It is a root cap which is made up of special cells called statocytes. Note down, statocytes. Statocytes are the special cells which generally present in the root cap, and these statocytes are very important, understood, forming a special layer like calyptra. Understood? This is the calyptra is very very important for giving protection to the tender root tip. Now you got the point, students? And which is releasing a mucilage which basically acts as the root into the soil. Understood? Right, students? So these statocytes are also present in the tissue or the membrane like structure or sheath like structure called root cap. Root cap, and these root cap, because of the statocytes generally they have gravitational perception. You please note down gravitational perception or gravitotropism. They have a property, they shown a different property, that is gravitational or gravitational perception. Gravitational perception which is leading to give a property, that is gravitotropism. Gravitotropism. Simply better to write here gravitropism. Gravitropism is nothing but what it is, already we discussed, that is geotropism. So that's why roots are generally possess a property, that is positive geotropism and negative phototropism. Roots are generally possess these two are the properties. Understood, students? Positive geotropism and negative phototropism. What about stem? Reverse to this. Reverse to these properties. Stem is showing positive phototropism and negative geotropism. Who? Stem, which is the part called as ascending part of the plant axis or plant body, which grow towards the light as aerial part, but it is underground part. Generally root is a underground part. So this is the first region which we are calling a region of root cap or root cap. Now got the point? And the importance of root cap I think you understood. Okay, now coming to the point, next regions of the or parts of the root. In that the first one is, next one is what it is, region of meristematic activity. Note down, students, region of meristematic activity. Yes. Now we discuss about region of meristematic activity. You know, I think students, in your previous class you have an idea about this term meristem. What is meristem? Any one of you can say, any one of you can able to recall your knowledge about the term meristem? Meristem is a term which we are understanding as rapid cell division. I think you know something well about cell division, where the group of cells formed to make a tissue, a group of tissues make an organ, the organs which are basically need to construct the body of plants and animals and human beings, you know, right? In all the multicellular organisms we seen cellular organization, group of cells come together to make a tissue, group of tissues are going to make organ system if it is animals. Understood? So like that, all these are the different kinds of levels of cellular organization is the content which is needed to understand the construction of the body which we see in the multicellular organisms. So here in the plant body, we want to see the growth of the plant. We want to see the growth of the plant. Understand? Suppose to think here, it is a plant. It is a plant where it is growing. All these are the different parts of root. Of course, primary roots and secondary roots. Okay, and it is continuously grow towards the soil. The region where it is continuously grow into the soil, it is called. This is the region called root tip. root tip are also known as root apex. Root apex. Now got the point? This is soil. You please understand, students. Okay. From the soil, below the region of the soil or inner side, under the soil, whatever the part of the plant we see, that is the part we are calling root. What it is? Root. Is it right or wrong? This is the root. We are discussing now about that part only, which grow towards the soil. Okay, the tip of the root, it is completely called as root tip, which covered by the thimble like protective layer called, what it is? Root cap here only. For example, see here. To understand better, I am writing here, you please understand. It is root cap. Root cap is going to cover the root tip or root apex, where we see group of cells which they have an ability, that is meristematic ability. Meristematic ability is nothing but a rapid cell division, where we see wherever the cells we are observing, supposed to think it is a plant cell. Understand? It is a plant cell. This is a plant cell. This plant cell get divided rapidly. Divide rapidly. Divide rapidly to produce a large number of cells. Sorry. The large number of cells which they are needed to make tissues, which they are needed to make organs. Now got the point? Based on the region, they are playing role to make that specific organ. Suppose to take it is the plant cell which we are collecting from region of meristematic activity. Now got the point? Region of meristematic activity, where we see in the root tip or shoot apex. Root tip or shoot apex. Here in this region only we see in meristematic activity. What is the activity we see in here? Meristematic activity rapidly taking place in the particular region of the root, it is called root tip. In the same way, this type of root region which contains a large number of cells which they are developing from the property, meristematic property or cell division property, where we see in the stem, that is also there at the tip of the stem or tip of the shoot. It is called as shoot tip. What it is? It is generally called as shoot tip. The shoot tip is also known as shoot apex. The shoot tip is also known as shoot apex or apex of the shoot. Shoot apex. In the shoot apex region or apical region, tip region, we have a number of cells, plant cells which has more meristematic activity. Meristematic property. Understood, students? Meristematic property which shown clearly. Okay, due to these two tips only, the plant is going to be elongated. The plant is going to be growing in the lengthwise. Okay. From month to month or year to year, the plant length or that particular plant is growing in the lengthwise manner only because of the cells what they added. One cell to another cell they added to increase the length of the plant body. In the basic two parts which they are going to carry the length of the root done by the meristematic cells present in the root tip, the length of the shoot or stem done by the meristematic cells which they are loaded in the tip of the shoot or tip of the stem. Now got the point? Now got the point, students? So here tip of the shoot or tip of the root are the regions where we are expecting to see the special cells which has an ability of meristem. Which has an ability of meristem. Due to that meristematic activity or rapid cell division activity, number of cells they are producing, then automatically that plant length automatically increases. Now got the point? Increases, and root length automatically increases only because of the okay, meristematic activity shown by a particular region of the root tip and particular region of the shoot tip. Now we are discussing about root. So now coming to the point, root tip. Understood? This tender root tip is the root tip. Tender root tip. Tender root tip is a region where it contains meristematic cells. You know what is the meaning of meristematic? Already I have given here. See, okay, meristematic cells. These are the special cells. Why should we call them with a specific term? Those are also plant cells. Why we are not using to call them as plant cells, but specially we are calling them with meristematic cells because they have an ability. Functionally, they are going to divide rapidly. Functionally, they actively divide to give more and more cells which are basically need to make tissues and organs to construct the body of the plant in the lengthwise or girthwise. Here we are discussing about tip of the root and tip of the shoot is we basically need to increase the cells which are participating in the construction of the body of the plant in the lengthwise manner. Now got the point, students? Understood, students? So the root is increases year to year, the root percolation increases. How? Only because of the length of the root increases by adding a number of cells and producing a number of tissues which they are going to be loaded in the long cylindrical elongated structure, that is root or underground part of the plant or descending part of the plant. Now got the point? Now got the point, students? So in the typical root we have a second region, that is region of meristematic activity, where we see the rapid cell division taking place in the particular tip of the root. It is called tender root tip or root apex. Understood? In this region only we are expecting rapid cell division. Rapid cell division. Rapid cell division. In this region only we are expecting storage of synthesis and storage of phytohormones or plant growth regulators. Plant growth regulators are phytohormones. Already I have given some clue about auxins. Some other phytohormones like cytokinins. All those are the different kinds of PGRs are also loaded here to promote the root into the soil and promote to show the property of geotropism or gravitropism by the root tip. Now got the point, students? And promote the or encourage the cells which rapidly divide to increase the length of the root, the cells which they are loaded in the tip of the root. Now got the point? So this is the region where we see rapid meristematic activity for the production of cells which are basically need to construct the body, construct the length of the construct the plant body, especially in the root which is growing towards the soil by increasing its growth in lengthwise. Understood? Only because of the special cells which they are completely rapidly divided to give more and more cells which are basically need to construct the tissues and organs. So all these are the cells which they are year to year due to increasing their age, these are the cells are moving towards the proximal region, because we are moving from distal region to proximal region. Understood? This is the part is proximal to root cap. This part is proximal to understand, students? This is the root cap region is the distal part which proximal, which is this one is behind the region of meristematic activity. So this meristematic activity zone is the proximal zone to the root cap, and after the region of meristematic activity we go for a region of elongation. This region is proximal to meristematic activity, and the region of elongation is the proximal region to meristematic activity, region of meristematic activity. In the same way, the region of maturation is the proximal region to region of elongation. Like that, it is proximal to this. This is proximal to region of elongation. Region of elongation is proximal to region of meristematic activity. Region of meristematic activity is proximal to region of root cap. Understood? Understood, students? So we are it is a distal part. We are moving from distal parts of the root to the proximal parts of the root. Now got the point. So this is the information about region of meristematic activity where the rapid cell division we seen. So here in this particular region of the meristematic activity only, a large number of immature cells they are developing. Slowly they became matured, which they are loaded to form to increase the length of the root, which they are moving into the regions like region of elongation and region of maturation. The region of elongation and region of maturation, all the tissues means all the group of cells are only comes from the region of meristematic activity only. Day to day, what happens? All the cells are moving towards the proximal parts of the root only, towards the whatever the parts we are observing here. Region of the meristematic activity is a distal part it is understood. 2, it is a distal part to the this one region of elongation, isn't right or wrong? And region of elongation is the proximal part to the region of meristematic activity. So here this region of elongation and region of maturation is completely constructed by or existed by a large number of cells which comes from the property, cell division property, which shown by the first cells like meristematic cells, which they are loaded in the root at the specific location and region. It is called region of meristematic activity. Now we are going to discuss about 2 more regions are located in the root. They are region of elongation and region of maturation. Okay, now we better to look into those 2. Understood, students? Before going to discuss about those 2 regions of the root, like region of elongation and region of maturation, you need to have an idea. This is a stem. Okay, when we are using a stalk-like structure, it is not giving any idea, okay, whether it is stem or not. So you better to draw a small diagram, little leaves, understand, to give a proper idea about yes, it is a stem. So now got the point. So now we are going to discuss about 2 more regions which they are loaded in the located in the root, typical root. They are region of elongation and region of maturation. Now next region of the root, that is third region of elongation. Region of elongation. Here in that particular subheading only we have meaning, we have a very big meaning hide in this particular terms what we are using for this subheading. Region of elongation means it is the region or the location or the part of the root where we seen elongated cells. What are the cells we are observing? Elongated, enlarged cells. Enlarged cells we seen here. We seen means here all the plant cells are going to be elongated, enlarged, expanded. Understood? Expanded. Expanded. All these are the cells they came from region of meristematic activity which lie before this region as a distal region. Understood? Of this region of elongation. This region of elongation is proximal to region of meristematic activity. Now got the point. So this is the region of elongation. Region of elongation is proximal to region of meristematic activity. Region of meristematic activity. Already we have discussed well about the region of meristematic activity. In the region of meristematic activity, one thing it's very important here. What the cells we seen? The cells are thin-walled, okay, dense cytoplasm or thick cytoplasm. or protoplasm, dense protoplasm is in meristematic cells, in the meristematic zone. You better to write here meristematic cells. This is the features we see in the meristematic cells, not in the cells present in the elongation. So it is the proximal to the region of meristematic activity. In the meristematic activity, the cells are thin-walled, dense protoplasm is in meristematic cells. Understood? This is the cells slowly, they are elongated, students. You please remember. These are the meristematic cells move into the region, it is called region of elongation, where the cells are going to be expanded by getting a more and more amount of cytoplasm, which slowly increases its size and enlarge the cell's size and elongate the cells. These group of elongated cells increase the length of the, or increase the growth in the lengthwise manner what we see in the root. So the root is root growth is in lengthwise more in the region, it is called a region of elongation. You please remember. So the region of elongation is a growth of root in lengthwise manner. When one more point is among all regions of root, regions or parts of root, the region of this region of elongation is the longest region. It is a neat bit. Longest region among all the regions of root, which one is the longest, and growth of the root is in lengthwise more, that region is called region of elongation, where all the cells are elongated, enlarged and expanded. The cells which come from the meristematic activity, which is seen in the region of meristematic activity, like that slowly all the cells are uploaded towards the upward direction. Now got the point, towards the proximal region. So this is the region of elongation is very much important for loading of or deposition of or accumulation of number of cells which come from the region of meristematic activity to increase the length of the root only because of the particular cells what they loaded by increasing their surface area, by accumulation of or increasing the volume of cell or protoplasm, which slowly increases to enhance the or increase the cell size. All these are the expanded, enlarged cells which are going to make a tissues, and a particular part in the region of the root, that is region of elongation, where that elongated structure of root we are observing. Elongated portion of the root we are observing. That particular portion we are calling region of elongation, which is very, very important, which is the region of elongation. Students, you please note down region of elongation is proximal to region of meristematic activity, or the region of meristematic activity, it is the proximal. Understood, students? And it is distal to the next region, like region of maturation. Now we better to discuss about the region of maturation. The region of maturation is loaded by the cells, whatever the cells slowly they are developing across the region of elongation from region of meristematic activity. The newly formed immature cells which are dense cytoplasm or dense protoplasm, thin walled, actively divided cells or dividing cells. Some of these cells are continuously follow the cell division, but some of the cells are not follow to do the cell division. Those cells are slowly getting maturity by enters into the regions of root, like region of elongation and the region of maturation, where the region of elongation the cells are getting developing in condition, the fully developed matured cells are loaded in the region. It is called region of maturation, where the matured cells, matured tissues we are observing in the parts of the root, that is the complete region as a proximal region of the root or first proximal region of the root. Understood? So now we better to discuss about that next particular region, that is what it is. Fourth region, that is region of maturation. Region of maturation. Here also meaning clearly it is given to us. Maturation means here we seen what it is. All these are matured cells we are observing. Matured or developed cells or tissues are loaded in the region of the root. It is in the region of root, that is region of maturation. Region of maturation. Now you got the point, students? So this is the region of maturation is completely, sorry students, here you please this mark. Yes, region of maturation is completely loaded by the developed cells or fully matured cells. Understood? The maturation done, finished by all the cells which they lose its dividing ability in the region of meristematic activity or location of meristematic activity. From that the cells which are not continuously divided, some of the cells they continuously divided to increase the length of the, or which are participating in the construction of the lengthy root, but some of the cells what they come from the meristematic activity are not follow to divide the cell division property or follow the cell division property. Those cells are moving to get maturation by enter into the, by forming or making different regions of the root, like a region of elongation and a region of maturation, which they come from the region of meristematic activity. Now you got the point? So this particular fully matured cells which they are going to make a permanent tissues. These permanent tissues are going to perform permanent functions, especially these permanent tissues are giving very good support or anchorage to the plant pots. Whatever the plant pots are there on above the side of the ground, just they be stable because of the right mechanical support and anchorage given by the permanent tissues which they are present in the region of maturation. These permanent tissues are only came from the meristematic activity through the region of elongation. Understood, students? So region of elongation is lie in between, the development of the cells is also lie in between region of meristematic activity and region of maturation. You please remember, here fully matured cells we see, there in the region of meristematic activity immature cells and newly formed cells we are observing, young initial cells we are observing. The young initial cells slowly developing and getting maturity across the region of elongation and enter into the region of maturation where the fully developed and matured cells we seen that matured cells we are calling permanent cells, which they are making permanent tissues. These permanent tissues are performing a function that is a permanent function like giving a support and anchorage to the plant parts which they are stably landed on the soil. Understood? Or stably erect on the soil, like stem and shoot system, like stem, leaves, flowers, fruits, everything just they are only stable or permanent standing they are getting because of the support given by the permanent tissues which they are located in the region of the root. It is called region of maturation. Now you got the point, students? And this is the region of maturation is a region which is proximal to, it is proximal to, tell me what it is, proximal to region of elongation, proximal to region of elongation. Now got the point? Proximal to region of elongation where we seen matured cells, they are present here in this region. Now got the point? And this is very much important. Here only whatever the root we seen with the part, it is region of maturation. Supposed to think it is the root completely. This is the part of root we consider as okay, region of, supposed to think it is the region of maturation. I think you have an idea about the plant and its organs are covered by outer sheath like layer which is going to cover all the plant organs. This is the layer we are calling what? Epidermal layer. Epidermal cells which are functionally very active. Understood? Living cells which they are going to cover the inner parts of the plants, not only the root, every part of the plant, whether it is leaf or stem or fruit, whatever it may be, every part is covered by the outer jacketed layer called epidermal layer or epidermal cells. These epidermal cells are also come from this developed from the cells which come from the meristematic activity. These cells are getting matured. So the matured epidermal cells developing into root hairs. I think you know what is root hairs and what is the function they carried out already. Little bit I have given little clue about these structures. Understood? So matured epidermal cells developing into root hairs. Understood? These root hairs are unicellular. Each and every root hair is not made up of more number of cells. Each root hair is constructed by a single cell. That's it. That's why they are visible. Generally cells are not visible to us. We must use microscope. But here some of the appendages they are clearly visible to us, though they are unicellular. Now you got the point. Though they are unicellular, they clearly visible to us. Here a long delicate thread-like structures as root hairs we seen clearly in the root system of different plants. That particular root hairs are not multicellular, they are unicellular. It is need bit, you please remember. Root hairs are the unicellular, exogenous, means outer side, from the outer side of the root only they are developing, means outer side of the root as the epidermal cells are only developing into root hairs, that's why they are exogenous. But what about lateral roots? Already in the first starting of the topic we discussed lateral roots as secondary roots, followed by tertiary roots. Whatever the roots they are developing by internal portion, there I said, understood, internal or anatomical portion of the root, that is from pericycle. You don't know pericycle. When we are discussing about anatomy of flowering plants, then we are going to discuss about a pericycle is a part of internal region of the root. Understood? Whenever we are going to do the transverse section of the root, we have different layers. Different layers when we are moving from outer region to center, periphery to center. In that only one of the spherical ring-like structure which we seen as a pericycle. That pericycle in the root is only the region or the particular part which is going to follow secondary growth to give lateral branches. So these lateral branches of roots are lateral roots developed from inner portion of the root. Now that's what it is called. They are endogenous. Lateral roots are endogenous, but root hairs are not come from the internal or inner portion of the root. They are come from outer cells which they are calling as epidermal cells. These are the outer cells. Outer. These outer cells like epidermal cells are the region for developing into root hairs. Now that's what is exogenous. But it is exogenous. So matured epidermal cells developing into root hairs. These root hairs are unicellular, elongated. Note down, students. Elongated. Okay. Delicate. Okay, long thread like structures developed from region of maturation, which is a part of root. It is a proximal part of the root. Understood, students? So from the region of maturation, special cells they are producing, they are developing into root hairs. These root hairs are very, very important for perform the functions like they perform functions like absorption of water and minerals. Absorption of water and minerals from, tell me, absorption of water and minerals they have taken by plants from soil. Absorption of water and minerals from the soil. Who done this job? This particular job done by the root hairs, which are unicellular, long, delicate, okay, unicellular, long, delicate, elongated, thread-like structures called root hairs. Okay, these root hairs increases surface area. Root hairs increase surface area of absorption of minerals and water. Minerals and water from the soil. Water from the soil. Now got the point? So if the root hair number increases, automatically the surface area increases. If the surface area increases, the surface area which is absorbing water and minerals from the soil, so based on the number of the root hairs, automatically the surface area increases. Then absorption of water and minerals are also increases by the plant body. Now all these are the different regions what we have discussed. Now we better to understand through one diagram. You please draw the diagram neatly with suitable labeling what I am drawing on the board. You please observe, okay, with the right attention to draw the diagram, okay, better. Along with suitable labeling. You please draw the diagram of, okay, regions of root or parts of root. Now got the point, students? Now we are going to draw the diagram to understand and clearly seen all these are the different locations are the parts of the root. Understood? So diagrammatic representation of various regions, various regions of root, various regions of root. So now we better to discuss about the diagrammatic representation of various roots through the diagram. You carefully, please draw the diagram carefully, clearly. How I am drawing, you please observe and draw all the diagrams for botany. It's very, very important, and they should be you maintain, they should be neat representations with suitable labeling. So you please draw the diagram to locate all the different regions what already we have discussed here. Understood? Draw it. This is the region we are calling region of maturation. Note down, students. Region of maturation. Region of maturation. And after that, where we are observing in the region of maturation a large number of epidermal cells, they get maturity and they are developing into some unicellular thread-like delicate thin filamentous structures called root hairs, which are very much important for absorption of water and minerals from the soil. So all these are the root hairs. If the surface of the root hair increases, automatically the absorption of mineral and water increases from the soil. Now got the point? The next region which we are observing here, from this particular part of the root to the, from here to here, it is very long region. Okay, the growth of the root is elongated, length of a root more in the specific region called region of elongation, from here to here, from here to here. This is the region we are calling what, ma? Region of elongation, region of elongation. So it is the lengthy region in the root. Lengthy region of root. Among all other regions, it is the longest region, which is basically need to increase the length of the root more. The length of the root, whatever the length it may be, whether it is 20 centimeters or 30 centimeters, in that maximum length is only occupied by the region, that is the region of elongation, because there only we are observing all the cells are elongated, expanded, enlarged cells we are observing. Understood? So after that, here it is the region. So you please give the border clearly. From here, this is the tip of the root or tender root tip, which has an ability to divide rapidly. Means meristematic activity done here in this zone. Whatever the newly formed cells, just they are loaded here. This is the region is called region of meristematic activity. You please write down meristematic activity, region of meristematic activity. You know, region of meristematic activity is completely, we seen in the region, it is called root tip. This region is called root tip or tender root tip or tender root tip or root apex. Root apex, tip of the root or root apex. So here only that rapid cell division activity we seen with the help of special cells, meristematic cells, which they are going to protected by a thimble like sheath or covering layer which protects the tender root tip or which protects the region of meristematic activity or zone of meristematic activity. Now got the point? This is the special membranous covering sheath like thimble like structure called this is the region we are calling as, this is the part called as region of meristematic activity. The outer covering sheath like structure called root cap region. What it is? A root cap region, or simply we can write as root cap, which is also called as calyptra. Which is also called as a calyptra, which is basically need to, what is the importance of this particular root cap? It is giving a very important function, that is, what it is? Protection. Protection and gives ease to access the root, ease to access the root into the soil. The root into the soil. Please note down, students. So this is the information about regions of root. This is the information about regions of root. Now got the point? So different regions, what they located on the root. So this is the typical root It is a diagrammatic representation of various regions of typical root. What is the root? It is typical root. Okay, in this typical root we have distal to proximal. This is, okay, this is distal region, distal. This is proximal. Now got the point? First parts, first cells and tissues loaded here, region of maturation. The remaining somewhat immature than that of region of maturation we seen in the region of elongation. Fully immature and newly formed cells, young cells, they are producing through the method of cell division. We seen in the meristematic activity where it done, and this particular tender root tip or meristematic activity, which is very sensitive, is protected by a cap-like structure called calyptra or root cap, which is also, it is giving protection to the tender root tip and also giving a releasing mucilage, secretes mucilage which is access to root to penetrate into the soil. Understood, students? So this is the information about different regions of typical root. In the next lecture, we are going to discuss about modifications of root. Modifications are nothing but the changes in the structure of different parts, especially in the root, whatever the structure for performing different functions other than the main functions of the root, just we are observing, we are calling them as modifications of root. So in the next lecture, we will go to discuss about modifications of root. Thank you, students.